everyone, and welcome back. We are so excited. Welcome to what is going to be episode 2 of Ampistrano, as we're going to be splitting our episodes up as we continue on.
This is your friendly reminder from your resident person and other person in a robot. If you have medications to take, this is your reminder to take them. Also, today is September the 27th, and it is a Saturday, in case you needed a reminder of the date or the time. Please go and handle those things accordingly.
Yeah. Thank you, Sid. We have just picked up, and our group, slightly split, is in the Crown City of Jorix. At this moment, Ostani is slowly working their way to the Acidian Gate as the camera is going to pan back to the Crooked Chimney Tavern, where at this moment, Blackstone, aka Rory, has opened up the door into Diadora's room and has been immediately greeted by Sparky, the large blink dog at this point, probably the size of, I would say, probably a little bit bigger than a Rottweiler. Pretty big. Still growing. Like, you can tell, Rory, they're going to be growing quite a bit. Probably at some point, maybe Diadora might be able to ride him at some point. Who knows? And you have this missive, this kind of envelope, sealed, that's been given by the Crown's Guard that was just at your door that you scared them. And that is where we pick up.
Could you remind me the last one thing again?
Of which one? Sorry, Matt?
Sorry, I missed the last bit in my brain.
You're good. We're panning to Diadora and Blackstone right now. So you are good.
Thank you.
You are so good. Listen, it's all good. We're a very neurospicy group here, so. But Rory, you have this missive in your hand, staring at Sparky, and Diadora, who seems to be kind of roused, but not really moving much from their bed at all.
Good morning, Sparky.
Roof.
Good morning, Diadora.
Hi.
I have come bearing news in the form of whatever this is. As I hold the missive aloft.
Diodora looks at it blankly.
It seems like we have invitation, things to attend. Also, Diadora. Given my observations, this is probably a foregone conclusion, but how are you holding up these days?
In what way?
Rory finds a... Do you mind if I have a seat?
Yeah, go for it.
I pick a spot nearby, but at a respectful distance.
There's a chair you can sit in.
In all of the ways that are important, it's been a while. We've taken some time for ourselves, I guess, to rest and recuperate, and more importantly, reflect. As I understand it, I don't know. I think we have been through some very unusual circumstances and very unusual times. How are you?
Yeah. I've been better. I guess I'm not used to being alone. people leaving.
I feel like it is one of the most poetic forms of pain to be in a city surrounded by people and feel like you're the only one here.
I guess I've never experienced it before.
Well, then I hope life is kind enough and that you only have to experience it once. Now,
Diadora lays there for a moment, and it is looking at Rory. I want to make sure she is facing them, talking, looking at him. But there's kind of obviously she's sad, but it's also sort of that stoic sort of sadness, when you're somebody clearly trying to internalize it a bit, but doing a bad job of it. And then she says, I think that's very optimistic. But I am not going to hold my breath about it.
more than fair.
What is the missive about?
I opened the missive.
And as you, sorry, I was just so locked in on the scene that I was
If
I
you
have to talk.
I will say you can literally just send me the text of the missive and I will read
No,
it.
it's all good. I just need listen. We're getting back into it. So, as you open the missive, you can see that the seal on it is of a red wax. But as you look at it, there's hints of gold in it. And the actual marking on the seal itself looks like it is the kind of face of a ram in some retrospects. As you pop open the missive itself. And instead of parchment coming out, instead it's just this golden kind of line that starts forming words in the air in front of you. It reads, Commander Tyneal kindly requests your presence at the Acidian Gate at the 3rd hour past noon. P.S. Diadora, I look forward to meeting with you.
Diadora just looks at this gold shit in the air. Question, would I recognize the seal?
Mm-hmm. You 1,000% would know that this is the seal of the sigil rather of the Tyneal family.
Yeah.
You'll see too,
okay.
If I can interject.
Yeah.
The gold is casting a shadow. It seems like Tyneal has tried in his year since meeting with you to learn how to write in shadow for you. So you get every other word of what's being written.
I'm reading, kind of looking at it, but also trying to sound out the words that aren't fully formed in my vision.
Yeah.
But just I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's oh, I know that seal. It's from Tyneal, and it's kind of the first time Theodora's looked mildly interested in anything for weeks now.
And I think that is something that I notice immediately.
Yeah, and that's because it's something that's familiar to her, and her relationship with Captain Tyneal is he was her mentor, and so therefore she considers him to be part of her family, and that was just he was a source of comfort for her, and so that's and that's kind of what she needs right now. And so I think subconsciously she knows that, but like consciously she doesn't know that. She just like sees it and it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna see like my friend again. But really it's like, I need this right now. I need to see somebody familiar right now. What does it say?
Well, if I know this, hold on for a moment. And like you see processing happening while they're downloading information.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I think for you, this is excellent news. Captain Tyneal has requested our presence this afternoon at 3 hours afternoon.
I think as Rory says this, Diadora has no idea like what actual time it is, but
No.
like I have a feeling that like as she, because the room kind of shifts with her moods and stuff, like maybe like it starts shifting to like the clouds or whatnot to like kind of cast sunlight to show like the shadows so she can read like as a sundial.
Yep.
Well, can I see the sundial?
That's a question.
Oh, okay, hold on, wait.
Yep, hang on.
There we go.
I think it's less like a sundial, but more like the shadows acting like a sundial. So
Okay.
she can read like where like the sun is, because the ceiling is like reflecting the sky, and so like it's like the shadows all over the room.
You know, understanding that this is a bit of a relative concept, would you like me to come and retrieve you before we need to leave?
No, I know what time 3 in the afternoon is.
Okay. One other thing. I've received some interesting updates as I've been walking around the town and collecting information. Would you care for an evening out?
Updates on what?
Well, kind of gesturing to their person.
Oh.
It is my understanding that this town is a known quantity to Blackstone and therefore now to me. And it seems that there might be a number of things happening this evening that might be one of interest to you into very much in your wheelhouse.
You've talked to Blackstone?
There is a moment where if Rory could just be like, if empathy had a facial expression on an automaton, this would be that moment of being like, he hasn't like, well, they haven't disappeared, not in the sense that you would think of as a person who leaves. He's a constant presence here, just as I am.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We can check things out later.
As I understand it, one of the things that you occasionally enjoy doing is sparring fisticuffs, something along those lines.
Yeah. I do enjoy that.
And I do believe, if what I've seen in the areas I've explored is any indicator, that there is such an event happening at some time this evening, if you wish to attend. And well, let's just say, I think either a familiar face or maybe blowing off some steam might be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. I don't mind trying it. Is it also something that you're interested in?
Well, I suppose I am more of an academic, but also I do occasionally like to swing a hammer. And that is another thing that you know over the last month is that while Blackstone uses arrows and daggers, Rory's preferred method of dealing with things are blunt weapons, and very specifically the kind of hammers that a blacksmith would use.
Rory likes the crushed skulls. Got it.
You know, just, I don't know, sledgehammers make for easy negotiations.
I agree. Swords do too. Okay, if it's yeah, we should do that. Sounds interesting.
Well, then, let's hope for an evening of interesting things.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is probably beyond a need for saying at this point, but I'll be next door if you need anything.
Okay, thank you. I think as soon as Rory leaves the room, I mean, I think Diodora still like lays in bed for like a few more minutes, like just kind of like mustering up like the energy, and then gets up and like even though it's like still early in the morning, starts getting ready because she's considering just running down to like the Acidian Gate right now and just going over like before time. Um, even though that's like, a bit uncouth maybe, but she doesn't really give a fuck about that kind of stuff. She's just like, it's like the one of the few things that she's had to look forward to in some time now. So
You
she's kind of latched
notice,
onto it.
and you'll notice that Rory may or may not have left the missive in the room with you when he left.
I think Diodora does take it. She can't read it. But this
One
she
of those,
does, like,
just
kind of,
like a,
yeah. It's still like I recognize the handwriting even though I can't read what it says, and the seal, it means something to me. So like I don't think Diodora has picked up on it being intentional, but it is something that she like kind of slip into her belongings and just kind of maybe say nothing to Rory later.
Can you roll a perception check for me, please?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Get my character sheet up. Math. 23?
Sure. As the kind of line in this moment, a gold every now and then kind of almost seems like a bird. It kind of comes out, flies through the air a little bit, weaving before coming back into the missive itself as you're placing it. Interestingly enough, as it's casting shadow on the ground, you see it's very, very faint. Shiftweave magic. Like a darker spot. You know how in the sunlight, sometimes objects have varying degrees of shadow and shade.
Yeah.
And you can still see almost like if the shadow had a mind, the surface thoughts are that broken shift weave of the can't wait to see you kind of. This seems to almost be in stark contrast, kind of very slightly interwoven around it, almost italicizing the letters accompanying it. And it looks like there might be something more to it.
I reach out and touch it.
As soon as you do, the thread expands. almost looking like constellations of stars connecting the dots. And you see both Tyneel's writing as well as the appearance of a writing that is familiar but not Tyneel's. This is the language of you and
Is
your...
it my brother?
Mm-hmm. And interwoven amongst these constellations of stars that are spewing about the room right now are messages of, one, how proud they are. You get that this was simply for you. Specifically the message to your brother. You see this kind of, almost as this constellation comes whirling by, kind of crude drawing of two stick figures, seemingly the two of you at a younger age, seemingly hunting, saying that they're nearby, should you need. They're just outside the city. And they're here, watching you from the shadows. And you can see where Tyneel has also written, and then there's like a scratch mark where your brother has corrected them with a note of like, that's silly. We wouldn't say it that way. Like trying to
Yeah.
like
Wow, that is, you are using the old dialect,
Yeah.
and it's like nobody uses that anymore. Like,
and you get reports of what's been going on. You get a report that the tribe is doing well. They're down in the city on request of Tyneel to kind of add as an extra enforcement. As Tyneel is not sure of who he can trust, but he knows he can trust your brother, leading your wonderful tribe. So they've been in correspondence, but no one else knows that the Shiftweave tribe is here. So kind of, hey, don't be shouting this from
keep
the
it to
roof.
keep it to myself. But it's also like, she's also like, well, who the hell would I even tell? Like, I only Rory, and Rory probably already like knows because of shared knowledge with Blackstone and whatnot. So it's like not a big deal. But I think seeing all of this, especially like the expanse of like the constellations across the room, I think Theodora's been holding it a lot, like not really. Again, like I said before, she's like been holding back a lot of stuff and like in a bad way. But I think seeing this, knowing that her family's near, because it's kind of all she really wants right now, is I think she like starts to cry. Yeah. She like finally feels like she can let it out, even though it's still in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the pain and the grief and everything. I think this is the first time she's felt like something is good.
And as these constellations are moving by, I've said it before, but what is the greatest marker of time but shadow? And what is hidden within that is memory. And you get, as these kind of, think of like very similar to Blackstone's kind of cinematic records of how they view memory and stuff. These are moments that your brother and Tyneel are giving you both a hug from afar, but also just reminding you that you're not alone in this. You see memories of the tribe. You see several of the kids that maybe at one point you babysat and kept a watchful eye on when you were younger, seeing them grow up and joining the ranks, doing various things. Everyone seems to be healthy and happy, bit concerned with what's going on. They seem to be aware of the disappearances and that a society is doing something, but they don't have all the information, just because you've been out of touch for various reasons. And I will say you see one note, and it looks like a slightly angry face of your brother's. And he's like, "You got a blink dog? Where's mine?" Like, Just like kind of like
dude is older than me.
just that moment of anger, but also you get a sense of proudness from it, from when you and Sparky dreamwalked all those, at this point, months ago. And you were able to get just a snippet of his dream.
Yes.
He
And
seems to
letting him
be
know.
aware that you were there.
I think she does laugh at that a little bit. It's like that weird crying laugh that you do when like you're upset but something is still funny. And there's such a big part of her that wants to like rush out of the tavern right now and go to them. But she tempers that. Because for one, she doesn't know the city very well yet. Doesn't have all of the facts. And doesn't want to put them in danger.
You get one thing as well. As the constellations, I imagine at this point you're watching it all fly around, and then as it's kind of saying this message on its like second or third loop, you can start to see the magic's not dissipating, but it seems like it's on a timer, so it's going to go on a rest for a little bit.
Yeah.
The constellations all converge into this sphere as it gets smaller and smaller until a coin drops in your hand. And it looks like it is a coin of silver, but not of the metal, not of, what you find mining around. No, this looks like solid moonstone. And as you flip it, there is a solid moon face and then a solid, almost eclipse side of just black. And you can see the outline, almost like dewdrops on like a spider web in the morning. And it's warm.
Yeah. I think I just hold it to my chest.
As the rest of the thread.
Just knowing that it's full with like all of these messages of love and support, I just hold it.
Incredible.
And then, like after a few moments, wipe my face and get ready for the day.
Say at this point, it's just now approaching noon. We'll kind of speed up time a little bit. The Acidian Gate is a little bit of a walk. You didn't have to pass it, but Blackstone seems to know where it's at. And kind of with the scent, you're always kind of keyed in of where someone might be. It's not too far. You think you can go exploring if you want to, or hang out? What would you like to do? So,
Is that a question to the two of us?
the both of you, yes.
I think Diadora would want to explore and start understanding the layout of the city a bit more. Maybe start mapping it for herself.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, if it would help you, I can provide you a layout of the city so that you can like map the things that are important to you, or we can walk the length of the city, and thanks to a handful of things, I might be able to help you do so in about half the time.
Do we have time to do both?
Yes.
Because I do want a map of the full city, not just of points of interest, but then I can fill out points of interest later.
Okay. Well, the map of the city is going to be the easier part. So let's do the part where we go outside and walk things.
This is definitely a friend that's like, you've been in bed for a few days now. You should like take a shower and then leave the house.
Well, I think it's also from where Rory saw you earlier to now is kind of like, oh, you have actually expressed interest in wanting to like leave your room and go outside, and I'm trying to be very encouraging.
Yeah. And I think Diadora is still very much like sad, but she has found a motivation and like a purpose. With her family being nearby and Tynell being nearby. So that's like kind of her, those are like her North Stars at this point.
Okay, so I can take you anywhere you would like to go. Literally anywhere.
Let's just walk, make sure we're at the gate at the right time, but I don't have any place specific I want to be. I don't even know this place.
Well, if you don't mind, can I offer you a guided tour?
Yeah. That'd be great.
So, I walk to specific places and just describe the buildings. I explain a particular area of the market and the stores that are particularly here, and even greet some of the vendors by name because, well, depending on whether it's them or their children, I would know who they are.
Yeah.
Right? There is a point at which I say, here's where the school is. I point out people who are doing community service in trade for learning magic.
Yep.
I point out a blacksmithing shop. And but the theme for all of it, which I don't explain to Diadora, is that those are all of the places that Blackstone had formative experiences at the city. So I just take her on a tour of like everywhere that is kind of like, hey, you almost got in trouble for stealing because you were over here. This is where this person started beefing with a classmate and all this other stuff. Here are some of the places that Blackstone had to help or work with as a job for like mending things or prestidigitating things and all of this other stuff. So like everywhere that was kind of like, oh, all of this. And some people, there is a moment that I think Rory, in his excitement, like doesn't fully consider. And I don't know if anybody there would know Blackstone by name or anything like that at this point.
Mm-mm.
It occurs to him, and then he dismisses the idea almost immediately that if someone calls him Blackstone, Diodora is going to be very sad. And thankfully, no one does.
You get the vibe of like everyone vaguely remembers you just because of how distinct you are, since there's not many automatons that are kind of wandering, even in this capital city. There's maybe one every, as you're walking around, 1,000, and they're usually paired up with a Crown's Guard. It's completely different make too. It's not made from stone, it's made from metal. And doesn't seem to be as sentient, personable. Seems to have, as you kind of are looking around too, you do see like carriages, you see people milling about, but you also see every now and then, almost kind of towering above the crowd, this kind of, it almost looks like a much larger kind of elephant. It seems to be some kind of automaton or robotic structure that's slowly moving through the city, rising people up to different either platforms, either because some of the shops are on different levels too, but more often not, it's the super rich that are riding it as they're kind of moving around. Carefully, seems to be maneuvering around people. It's not stepping on anyone. And it's on not exactly a railway, but it seems to have a very distinct pass as it's kind of moving about, dropping people off, picking people up, moving about.
I also walk Diodora into the area where the bars are and explain that this area has a tournament that's happening to mark the beginning of the autumn and stuff. Oh, it seems that there's prize money for this one.
What does it say?
Oh, there's a grand tournament to mark the beginning of the autumn equinox.
Yeah.
And
But what is the tournament?
And at that,
Oh.
I'll jump in with the details for you. You can see that it seems like it is a tiered system where adventurers from all over can sign up in teams to basically take down a number of different creatures that have been captured and are in the rings before eventually fighting each other in the final round. Up for grabs is 5,000 gold. As well as title.
Does it have?
Oh, go on.
Oh, go ahead.
As well as kind of a makeshift title of like protector of the season kind of thing.
Is there like a number limit on how many people you need to have in a group?
Mm-mm.
And it's when? Tonight? Tomorrow?
No, it's
Like,
in
when
about
is it?
2 weeks. So you got
2
some
weeks.
time.
Okay.
This one
I
is
mean,
this one is in 2 weeks. So maybe tonight when we go out, we can practice.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we can practice for sure. I haven't really seen you swing that sledgehammer, so
I
Would be
guess
interesting.
going to go and give them the old what for. You are just like, I'm pretty sure you could hit someone really hard, but I wouldn't know if I could say you were a fighter per se.
Yeah.
Like one of those things like, I'm absolutely going to do this with you, but I need you to like not get yourself hurt. Okay.
it's like Rory's super excited to do this, like trying to like encourage me into it, and in my head I'm just thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna have to sign up just to make sure that he doesn't get fucked up." Okay, yeah, okay.
Can the both of you roll a perception check? Please and thank you.
Do I have to?
If you would please.
16.
Okay.
I have a passive perception of 24.
I know, but still roll, please.
22.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I just want to know. Space.
Our first court
20?
session of the season.
Two.
Our first court session of the season.
Okay.
Anyway, it's 3:00 now. Cause fuck you, Jordan.
Missed you too.
After giving Diadora this a little bit more personalized tour of the city, I go, depending on the map that you would like, I can either kind of visualize it for you so that you can draw it, or I can just pass it to you in a more direct manner, let's say.
You mean in my head?
Mm-hmm.
Can I think about it?
Sure.
I think like as you've been taking her on this tour and as like we've been heading towards the gate, like she has been sketching everything in like her little notebook, like just sort of like a really rough sketch of the city.
Sure.
It's not like perfect, but like kind of just give herself like what to make, like what to give her like an idea of like of how she could draw it later in like with her cartography tools and whatnot. But
you definitely have would have had like plenty of time to take as many notes or as many details in as you needed to.
Yeah. So
I think passive perception wise, and I'll give you this with your perception check too. As you're kind of milling about, there is a lot of discussion about the tournament that's happening in 2 weeks. a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people very excited about, who are going to be some of the adventurers that are going to be kind of battling it out. What sorts of creatures? If last year's winners are going to win again, they seem to be a favorite. You get that kind of vibe from a large number of people. You also get the vibe of, and this is a little bit more quiet, but a lot of people are also slightly concerned and or pissed that this tournament with 5,000 gold is happening when the upcoming winter, there's food shortages with everything that's happening at the docks. Farmers are reporting that a lot of their supplies are this has not been as plentiful of a harvest season. A lot of the plants and stuff and a lot of the produce has been dying a lot quicker. And it's just been harder to get stuff in and stuff out. So there's a lot of concern with the growing winter looming, that people are going to go hungry. So you hear kind of in whispered tones of like people trying to make plans, either of like what temples to maybe stop at, or like what other work they could pick up, because a lot of the sailors right now are kind of out of a job since they haven't been able to sail really, with all of the stuff that's happening there. And at the same time, you hear shopkeepers like wondering what they're going to do. They're at this crossroads of, do we lower prices? Do we raise them up? Because they need to make a living as well, and they're having that difficulty. So it's a whole cycle, right? That's happening. So there's a lot of kind of mixed feedback about that. You do also hear a lot of criticism about, I would say, Tyneal and the Crown's Guard, with their handling of individuals that have gone missing. It seems like the high priority cases of the nobility are kind of eclipsing a lot of the other disappearances that have happened. And that there was a disappearance as soon as last night that happened. Again, weird lights kind of happening in the graveyard district. And an individual who looked like it was one of the, a gentleman who's been in this city for years. He's known to literally have the simple job of walking around and making sure that all the lampposts are lit. That's his job, making sure they're lit at the start of the night and unlighting them at the start of the morning. And as you look around, you can see several of the lampposts are still lit up. Seems like as he was walking around, something might have happened. Now, crime, you're in a city. Crime happens everywhere. But a lot of people are wondering if there's the connection with what's going on with people going missing, the weirdness that's happening too in the graveyard district as it is, if that might be connected, or if they're, this was just a robbery and he's going to pop up in a couple of days. There's a bit of fear with that. And I'll say this too, you notice as you're walking around Blackstone, you'll pick up on this a bit more compared to the last time you were here. People are going around in groups, more so. Taking that transportation, like the kind of elephant automaton, more so than they were before. Like every time it passes by, you see it's almost at capacity. Because even the nobility are afraid to kind of move around. So you do see there's a lot more Crown's Guard too, kind of moving about, kind of keeping an eye on things, specifically in the Grotto district as you're moving around, and Erudite Quarter. They don't stop you. They're used to a lot of like new people coming into the city every single day. So you're definitely not out of the ordinary. But those are, I would say, definitely some things that, Astani, you've been living this for weeks. You're aware of that. That's been life in the city for a while now. But yeah, I would say you pick up on those kind of things as you're kind of walking around as well.
Yeah, I think all of that, like, I think in hearing, like, the whispers, like, about the tournament and people going missing and people going hungry and all this stuff, like, it kind of puts a damper a bit on Diadora's, like, excitement over the tournament, like, because it's like, oh, well, you know, that does seem a little, like, insensitive. But maybe if we win, we could, like, these are all things she's thinking in her head.
Yeah.
And
Not saying
then
it out
I
loud.
just pardon the intrusion. However, I'm assuming that saying something out loud might be dangerous. So, that being said, it is very possible, based on what we're hearing, that if we were to win the tournament, we could take whatever the proceeds are and return them to the people in the city who need it the most.
I was thinking the same thing. Were you reading my mind?
No, that would be incredibly rude, and I think Blackstone would never forgive me for doing such a thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's strange. I guess I don't understand why they would have a tournament with such a prize when people are going hungry and can't perform their jobs, and I don't understand.
You feel in the question, like for the briefest of moments, there is a spike of a cold kind of anger about that. And then the spike is like just like a brief blip on the radar, and then it disappears.
I think Rory feels the same in Diadora.
There is a reputation that aristocracy and nobility have, and I suppose there are reasons.
Never any good ones.
However, I don't think I would mind some nobles missing a bit of tournament money.
I agree with that.
I thought you might.
It just seems like I don't know if I will ever understand what it's like to live in a place like this, where everyone is together but separate, only thinking about themselves.
And I suppose more so, where they have the means, should they wish to make sure that everyone was well supplied, and they choose not to.
Yeah,
I
don't
understand. I know of a spell that could help with their crop situation, if that is the case. However, my question here would be, why have they not decided to use such a spell for themselves? Oh, right, there is a magic school here.
And so why hasn't the magic school helped?
That is a good question, and my guess is that the answer is political. Perhaps I'll investigate it while we're here.
Maybe we'll both investigate it while we're here.
Well, I suppose we now have a sufficient list of things for us to get up and go do during our days.
Yeah.
That being said, I imagine that this isn't necessarily something that you signed up for, but I feel compelled to do something about it, let's say.
I didn't sign up for it, but I can't be like those people who just sit back and don't do anything.
Well, then I guess we are going to be doing several things. And then, not out loud and not in your mind, and one of those things should probably be preparing for our engagement. We're going to be late if we don't hurry.
Yes.
And we'll speed time up as you
Fast walk.
Yep. Brisk walk through. And you eventually find yourself within the Colosseum district. Each of the districts have this kind of wall that's kind of separating each of the different quarters. And as you are moving through the archway, you can see this grand Colosseum. Massive. Looks like it could fit a dragon if they wanted to. To your right as you're coming in. And then straight ahead has a number of different buildings, Crown's Guard barracks, as well as, people just living here, helping out. You can see blacksmiths and stuff. You see this long, or rather tall building that is built into a perfect, almost pyramid into the sky. The Acidian Gate ahead of you, a giant, almost obelisk of a building that, compared to the stark contrast that's surrounding, definitely sticks out. Everything is kind of light and airy. This is a very foreboding kind of building as you're staring at it. A number of large windows overlooking it as well. As you're moving forward, everyone here is a mixture of either tired, I would say, to some are very excited, specifically a lot of the new recruits that have just arrived from Allegris, either in the last week or two. And as you approach, walking up these, again, similar kind of obsidian stone steps into the building itself, you see that it is a tall building in itself. It opens into this large common room that has what appears to be almost like this giant crystal chandelier, which as you're kind of looking at it, you can faintly see, it seems like it's not necessarily cameras, but like moments of different Crown's Guard relaying messages, and those messages in visual form are kind of moving across these kind of crystals, passing through, trying to give the information on the fly, in real time. You can see that this entire building itself has looks like 13 floors. Commander is up on probably the highest, where he is located, showing your missive. You're ushered right up. And similar to outside, seeing kind of the elephant automatons moving, instead, it looks like this platform rises up in a circle around you, and you're slowly lifted in the air. You're not going to fall. This is not BG3.
No. I wasn't thinking
say
that.
I offer a hand to Diadora.
Yeah, I was like, Diodora immediately is almost like a cat that's like doesn't know how to doesn't have that is frozen in place because she likes her
don't do
feet
heights.
to be on the ground. Ground. It's like if she had been given a choice, she would have absolutely just hoofed it up the fucking stairs. What the fuck is this?
And it moves slowly, kind of giving you a grand view. You can kind of see the various floors. The first and second either being some kind of barracks or training area for some of the new recruits. Looks like there's equivalent of a fighting area as well for sparring. You can hear several people barking out orders. As it gets to the upper floors, it's more administration, etc., until you arrive on the 13th floor.